TikTok has turned every female into a mega gold digger. It's no longer just birthday presents. It's no longer just flowers or pay her rent. Young women watch girls fly on private jets and get diamonds all day on TikTok. And it's remarkable how many women actively message rich men like me after some conversation admit their normal boyfriend isn't treating them right. If you're a man earning less than $500,000 a month with a young, hot girlfriend, the only reason she's still with you is because a rich man hasn't added her to his harem yet. The second you start to argue, she's going to be inboxing me. All the world's young girls, all, are chasing the mega rich and the famous and the unrealistic financial expectations. They have no problem sharing this man if they get things they can show off on TikTok. Polygamy is back and it's driven by female greed. The world is cooked.
Okay, so this is a classic. This is actually a really good example of correctly observing an issue that does exist and then completely blowing it out of proportion and prescribing the wrong solution. The issue that does exist is that gold diggers do exist.
Yeah, of course they do. Always have.
He opens up his inbox and it's full of whatever percentage of women are gold diggers. Those are the ones in his inbox.
Yeah.
So 100% of his inbox is gold diggers. And he's stupidly going, well, that means that 100% of women are gold diggers. Because obviously he can't conceive of a world where there's any woman that isn't inboxing him, right?
Yes.
That's
because obviously
every
like 4
woman's going to be
billion
inboxing
women on the world
right?
needed.
That's right. And so he's looking at his inbox and taking that as a sample of the entirety of humanity. But that actually is exactly representative, in my opinion, of this very emptiness that he's got, where he's running from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. He's attracting people that are also running from one thing to the next. I mean, if these are people in relationships that are messaging him saying, hey, add me to your harem kind of vibes, if any of that's even true, then what does that say about what he's sort of putting out there, that's what's coming back to him?
Yeah. I would argue, and this is probably the wanky academic part of me coming out, but there is a fine line between having wealth so that you can have opportunity and then acquiring too much wealth that it becomes a burden.
Yeah.
I don't personally know what that number is.
No. I'd like to find out.
When I figure it out, I'll let you know. But I imagine it's somewhere from like the tens of million and then you cross a threshold, maybe 50 million plus. I don't know. I'm speculating. But when you get to a point where you can afford most nice experiences, most luxury, you can buy a supercar, you can travel in a private jet, you can hire a yacht, whatever. Once you've reached that threshold, I imagine there's very few things that bring you pleasure. And I've given this example before, but when we were up in Noosa and we went to G's mate's friend's place, he just bought a completely specced out Corvette. Every option, he ticked it. And he'd just taken keys of it that day. And it was beautiful. Yeah. Like, I'll fucking take it. But anyway, his attitude was so cavalier. Yeah. Like, it's all right. I mean, look, they've done this. Like, he was talking about it as if, like, some council worker had just put pavement down and, like, kind of done it. He was just so uninterested. I'm sitting here going, this is like an $800,000 car that you've paid for and you're so unimpressed by it. Yeah. I never want to get to a point in my life where I treat things like that.
There is also, though, there is a certain kind of person that doesn't want to seem impressed because in their mind that makes them aloof. Yeah. There are some people that will never say thank you because that suggests that they're indebted to you, that you've done them a favor. They never want to acknowledge that. There are people that are never going to want to acknowledge that something's nice or that something's exciting. They're going to be meh all the time. But the issue with materialism, the issue with things and happiness being the source of your things is that they age. Yes. And there's always a new thing. So you're never going to be satisfied, or at least if you are, you're never going to be satisfied for very long. That creates this bottomless pit that you just can never fill. Now, to your question about how much money is too much, studies have been done, and what they've looked for specifically is to try and find the amount of money after which it doesn't make a difference anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Which is kind of a proxy for what you're saying. Like, any more money than that doesn't make your life any better.
Yeah.
Your life can't get any better.
You can only get bigger houses.
At that point, what's that money doing? Well, it is becoming a burden. It is getting you higher profile, more people coming to you, wanting things, more trouble. And the study was some years ago now, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm reaching back into my memory here, so I might have the number wrong, but I believe it was about $12 million US in assets. Mm-hmm. If you have $12 million US in assets that are put to work, they're working for you,
making interest
effectively and doing what you would expect $12 million worth of assets to do. So that's obviously net of any debts, etc. then at that point, any more money after that point is not going to improve your quality of life. And the reasoning is this. Yes, you could have a bigger house, but you've already got a great house in a great location. The bigger house isn't really going to change anything for you.
No.
Yes, you could own a yacht and have it sit there for 50 weeks of the year unused so you can go on it for 2 weeks of the year and pay all of the bills for it. Or, and that's what you do if you're a billionaire, but actually once you got 12 million in assets, US, in assets properly invested, you can rent that yacht for the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, okay, maybe it's not the Jeff Bezos sized yacht, but it's not going to make any difference to how much fun you have and the quality of what you enjoy. Okay, you're flying first class instead of having your own private jet flying you around. But honestly, are you really bleeding about that?
You probably get better service flying commercially first class than you would on your own private jet.
Well, certainly on long haul, there'd be some big advantages because
like I've seen some of those Emirates suites and Qatar suites.
Yeah,
like they look amazing.
Private chefs and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so now that number will have gone up because of inflation. But let's say that was 20 million Australian dollars. Let's call it 50 million Australian dollars. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just throw a huge number at it. After 50 million Australian dollars in assets, net of all debt, that are actually well invested and working for you, is there any point to getting any wealthier? Well, only for the purpose of making even more money later on. If you're a billionaire, you've got investment opportunities that someone with only $50 million doesn't have. But in terms of your lifestyle, your experience over the remaining days and minutes and seconds of your life, it's not going to make any difference at all.
Yeah. You brought up Enos Yilmaiser before.
Yeah.
You would have seen he did a tour of the $250 million home in Manhattan.
I don't follow him closely. I just, Edwina, my wife, wants to watch his stuff from time to time, and we'll watch a few.
I'm just trying to find a short. I don't want to watch a 30-minute YouTube. I think this is a short.
This is a $250 million penthouse located on Central Park Tower in New York City. We're currently on the 131st floor. Let me show you around. Now, this has to be one of the craziest parts of this incredible penthouse. Outdoor terrace, that's Central Park right there. You can see the entire park. You have your own personal ballroom. 27-foot high ceilings, walls of glass. You can probably have 200 to 300 people here very easily. Right, Sandra?
Look at the size. Look at the scale.
You have a massive floating jetted tub. Let me show you how it feels to go in there. I mean, this is a vibe. Welcome to the Grand Salon. This space is phenomenal. Piano in the center, multiple seating areas, unbelievable views, unbelievable. Down below us is the Billionaire Door, right there, 57th Street. So that's 157 West 57, 111 West 57, 432 Park, and right there's the Chrysler Building, right there. This is the observatory. Something about the simplicity of this room and just the minimalist seating, it comes together really well.
Ugly.
Now we're facing north. We have Times Square right in front of us. Look at all the lights. Crazy. Every home needs a kitchen. Island in the center with a sink. You have some base cabinetry here. You ready for this?
Oh, that's cool.
It's called a knock-knock dishwasher. Right behind me is the tuned mass damper for Central Park Tower. It is the biggest and the heaviest mass damper in the world. And
Two points on this. Firstly, you are going to be incredibly lonely in such a big place all the time. Secondly, you won't actually be alone most of the time because of the staff that you're going to have in and around your space all the time, maintaining, cleaning, looking after all of the things that can break, like the knock-knock dishwasher and all the other doodads and gizmos, not to mention
what
cleaning
did you get for $250 million? I got a knock-knock dishwasher.
Knock-knock dishwasher. There is without question a point where you go beyond the scale where you can ever actually be alone. You will be simultaneously surrounded by people and
That's
alone.
what I mean. That's the threshold. So like you talked about the 12 million.
Yeah.
We're currently in a house that's a 5-bedroom house, right?
Yeah.
And it's too big for me and G. We haven't filled it. But any bigger than this, like we're going to have to hire a gardener.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get a cleaner.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got people coming into your house that you maybe don't really know, but you have to have because you can't do it on your own. It starts to become a burden.
Yeah, correct.
And like I look at that and I just go, so you're so rich that you want to be removed from the world and you want to live that high up alone. Like that sounds impressive.
And you've got this ballroom that can hold 200, 300 people. How many times a year are you going to actually have any kind of a function in there? And how many of those people that you invite to that function are people that you actually deeply care about who also deeply care about you? And how many of those people are just the Joneses that you're trying to keep up with 100%. And you're trying to impress?
Well, interestingly, it's been for sale for almost 2 years and no one has been able to sell it. And so it was listed originally at $250 million and now it's selling for $195. So it's a bargain.
Look, I've got about $50.
I wouldn't live in that. There's no way.
If I got it for $50, I would.
I went to the top of what's the tower called in New York?
I don't know. But I love a good view. See, that doesn't bother me. I could stand on that balcony.
Oh, God, no, I'd vomit.
Yeah.
Like there's something about just sort of looking over, your whole tummy just goes.
Yeah, that drop. But I tell you what, that balcony would very rarely be usable because of the winds up there.
Yeah.
And this is actually a really, really big problem. As buildings got taller, as we started to be able to build 20-story and then 50-story, and now obviously we've gone way beyond that, the air pressure difference becomes a factor. And so you've got this building and the, depending on what's going on with the wind, you can have a massive pressure differential between the outside of the building and the inside of the building as you go further and further
Try
up.
to open the door.
And that's why generally skyscrapers don't have openable windows.
Yes.
Is because it's actually fraught with risks.
Yes.
And so, living somewhere like that where you might have a sliding door or something like that, you're going to have moments where you go to open that door and you unleash a whirlwind inside your home.
Yeah. I want to be wealthy, but I have no aspirations to be a billionaire. It just sounds like trouble.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly by the time you get to billionaire status, and particularly if it's high profile billionaire status, you have to pay. You're now paying millions of dollars a year to staff and security to keep the world at bay.
Hey guys, thanks for watching another short clip from The Oddcast. If you want to watch the full video, it's over on YouTube at The Oddcast HQ, and you can see more from me and Topher over there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep up with us in the comments.